I have seen a lot of art recently. Some of it is playful. Some of it's very strange. A lot of them had deep philosophical meaning. As it happens, the more and more art that I consumed, the more and more I began to notice the moments in my own regular life that inspired me, outside of the museums and the galleries and the venues, which I think is really sweet. Look guys, the corniness of this statement does not escape me. It's really easy to talk about all the ways that art has positively impacted my life, as I'm sure it is for many people, as the consumption and the appreciation of art is intrinsically personal. But personally, I feel like being negative on the internet today. As I've found out recently, there's a lot of things to hate about art. There are some obvious answers. Propaganda is used to spread information in the form of plays, TV programs, paintings, posters, music, and literally anything else that you can think of. It turns out that Hitler was a tortured artist who was rejected from art school, twice, which completely checks out. And then of course there's the ultra wealthy and the way that they act around art. I can't get into this too much because I'm probably not the best person to be telling you how to avoid taxation on your trust funds. Mostly because I do not have one myself. I'm specifically talking about the private ownership of precious artworks for selling and trading among the ultra wealthy. And what I do know about this is that historically and culturally significant pieces of art should not be privately owned. Probably for a lot of reasons, but mostly because idiots like me wouldn't know anything about the Spanish Civil War if Guernica by Pablo Picasso was sitting in a billionaire's temperature-controlled garage. It turns out that standing in front of a 25-foot painting did a lot more for me than any world history class I've ever taken. And there are other things that I hate that have a lot less weight behind them. For example, I really don't like single line drawings. And it takes a lot for me to buy into geometric abstractionism. I don't really like working with watercolors, or the color orange, which are two things that me from a year ago would be shocked to hear. I don't really like seeing renditions of those two fingers touching, the painting by Michelangelo, I think it's called The Creation of Life. I think it's tacky. I hate doing landscapes, and I hate how it always feels impossible to draw my own nose. And I really don't like art that tries to put the human experience into perspective against the grand scheme of things. I do not need you telling me that the universe is me and I am the universe. You're freaking me out. I don't like the Mona Lisa. I think it's boring. And I really don't like the amount of time and energy it takes to make something really, really, really shitty. But my least favorite part about art, by far, is the affinity people have for making up philosophical definitions for it. Please, let me present you some examples that directly reinforce my existing opinion. I like this one by Jackson Pollock. It says, "Painting is self-discovery. Every good artist paints what he is." And I once painted a bell pepper. 3 of them actually, in a row together so that the first one wouldn't get lonely. So I'm not quite sure if I actually just undermined Jackson's point or if I just validated it, but either way, let's move on. Also love that I just called him Jackson. Jackie P, my man. There's also this one by Annie Albers that says, "Art is something that makes you breathe with a different kind of happiness." I have a hard time buying into this definition because a lot of artists I know are, mentally ill. And also I think Van Gogh cut off his ear, so next. Now, I had to look up James Turrell when I read this quote, and it turns out that he was a big part of the Hotline Bling by Drake music video, if that gives anybody any kind of perspective. The yellow box, the red jacket, Drake. But his quote reads that art is a completed pass. You don't just throw it out into the world, someone has to catch it. My thoughts here are not profound. I simply think that this one is just annoying. Recently, I found myself more than ever defining the things that I think are bad or ugly or annoying or dumb about art and the things that inspire it. Which begs the question, are these things really bad, ugly, annoying, and dumb, or am I just a hater? It turns out that two things can be true. The hard reality that I've had to face recently is that pointing out the things that I do not like about art has been super helpful in informing the things that I do like. It's true, I don't like bright orange, but I like muted orange. In fact, I really like working with unsaturated colors right now. And I don't like landscapes because I think the real thing is always better. Plus, I always stress myself out trying to accurately translate them. So I'd rather not do them. And I don't like things that make me think about the universe too hard because there's already too much to think about in the real world. And I don't like definitions too much because I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it most of the time, and I've convinced myself that I really like it. And the best part about telling you everything that I hate is that I'll probably change my mind about all of it tomorrow, and that's completely fine.